GBP roast. Sorry, you in danger. Right now I gotta flame you. This is GBP roast. GBP roast on your Google business profile. It's about to go down. We roasting and reacting. We ain't come to play. 20 years in SEO. JP, Lambo, and Dre bringing facts and guests. Oh yeah, we bring the dopeness. Welcome to the show. Hope your profile don't get roasted.
Yeah, happy hump day, guys. How you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic. I'm drinking my new mug.
Steam sucks. Darren, do you
That's
use
a good
Schema?
mug. I'm doing good.
What is that? Oh my gosh. Do you have
They're for
t-shirts
sale.
available?
Schemasucks.net. Get yours today.
I got my new tan, so you could see I'm all glowing from some vacation. So sorry we didn't have a show last week, but
There we go. And we have a very, very special guest today, Darren. Darren, welcome.
Hey, everybody. That's a very
take it off. Show us your coconuts. Woo! Let's go.
All right. Darren, welcome. So everyone, Darren founded WhiteSpark in 2005 as a web design and development company. These days, WhiteSpark specializes in local search software and services and is one of the most respected and cited in the industry. Darren has been working on his web for over 19 years and is passionate about all aspects of local SEO. He leads research initiatives, including the Local Search Ranking Factor Survey and the Local Search Ecosystem. He's a regular contributor of search marketing publications and speaks at conferences around the globe. Welcome, Darren.
Thanks.
All right.
So he got the memo too. We're all, color coordinated here.
It's kind of funny. You talk to people online for years and then you finally meet them, and it's crazy how our industry works.
It is weird because it's like, oh yeah, I know you guys, but like,
they're like, do we?
Yeah.
Like, we know you, but do we know you?
Yeah. I don't really know you. I just see you guys wearing coconut bras and stuff.
Everyone has opinions, We got to do what we got to do to get the engagement up.
That's right. It works.
When is the local search ranking factor survey going to be updated?
Oh, you're going to ask that question. It's in production now.
Okay, there we go.
Going slow. I'm way busier now these days than I used to be, and so it's a slow grind. But we will launch it before the end of this year, and then we'll just call it the 2025-2026 local search ranking factors.
There you go. All right, guys, let's get right into our show. Let's get into our very first reaction video.
Oh, you're going to love these, Darren.
A local event or anything like that, you're going to want to post about it. This builds trust with your audience and feeds the information to Google that you are someone who's involved in more than just your business, but you're connected with other businesses as well. Tagging those businesses in those posts is a must.
What do you think about that?
I wouldn't normally tag people. Why would you tag them unless it's a true partnership? I don't see.
Are we talking about our Google Business posts, or
I'm assuming maybe like an event, possibly.
Yeah, it was for Google Business posts.
And the event side.
The fact that he said tag other, like your thing, I think he's talking about a social post. I don't know if it's a Google Business profile post.
Oh, because he did say
advice. Yeah, if you have an event, talk about it online, talk it on your socials. Sure, you might as well post it on your Google Business profile. It's not like a ranking thing, but it is a spread the word thing. Tell Google a little bit more about your business. Not like straight to number one after you do that. But I do think
if users actually see it.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm curious because JP is not a fan of Google Posts. Do you use Google Posts, Darren?
JP, I am a very strong advocate for Google Posts.
Oh,
I actually
there you go.
have some thoughts about Google Posts that I will present during the roast section of today's video.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Let's go.
What?
Looking forward to that. Let's go.
How dare you?
All right, let's get into our second reaction video we got here. Check this one out.
I hope
Drive,
it's joy.
its GBPs appear in those top spots. It's not your website traffic. It's not how many blog posts you have. It's not how many reviews you have. It's about how well Google understands your business in relation to what people are searching for. Blog posts rarely help with this because they're typically targeting informational searches, not local intent. You could rank nationally for how to fix a leaky faucet, but that will not help you rank for plumber Chicago. Most local SEOs focus on total traffic instead of local customers. while your phone sits silent. Instead of random blog posts, you need a specific structure that mirrors exactly how Google understands local businesses. The structure follows a very clear hierarchy. Primary category, secondary categories, services. This structure directly matches how Google business profiles are set up. When Google sees this consistency between your GBP and your website, it builds trust and authority for your local rankings.
There you go. Matching
What?
your website with Google Business
What's the
Profile.
primary and the secondary and the services? What is he talking about?
Nobody knows. But if I move my hands enough, people will know.
But I have flashy words on the screen, and I'm going to use confusing technology to convince you that I know what I'm talking about.
I think his advice is decent. His advice is pretty decent from the perspective of pumping out informational blog posts, not super valuable.
Yeah.
Matching your service page structure to that structure that he described, your primary category on your Google Business Profile, your additional categories in your Google Business Profile. That, of course, you can't match on a single service page because additional categories are different things. And then the services. I do think there's an architectural structure there, but I would say that there's value in actually writing blog posts that extend the service pages. So I would write so there's a big problem where people don't make a page for every service. So they make a page for every service, title
Gotta do
tag,
that.
headings, content blocks. Each of those blocks has a very clear heading that describes what that is. And then there's like a million things you could say about that, but you can't fit them all on one page. That's where you then link to the category that's related to that in your blog where you can extend that. So I do think that his advice is not terrible. It's like totally reasonable. I think it's valuable to set up your site architecture that way. But yeah, I don't know. I thought you were going to show some bad videos of like stupid advice, like people saying geotag it or something.
Well, so let me ask you a question, like, because there's a big consensus right now where people are like writing these random pages, like things to do in Austin, Texas. It's like, check out this fucking statue over here.
Don't do that.
Like, that's just complete and utter bullshit. But I would say blog posts can be helpful if you're writing something that's relevant to the area. Like if there's something like, let's say you're a roofer and in Arizona, most people have S-tile style roofs because of the heat, the sun is so hot.
Yeah.
And you have to have those types of roofs. That is something to write about. You're not going to be writing about clay tiles or any other type of tile, that is not going to be relevant to what is in the area. So then that is something that is helpful.
I love that.
But writing just something generic probably won't be as helpful as you can be to narrow it down for that geographical area.
Agreed. And I think that's what the guy was saying in the video. I thought it was totally valid. Yeah.
All right. So let's see what we have here. We have the last one, which is actually a pretty cool tactic because we wanted to. We had a question about this before. Let me go ahead and pull this up.
Let's do it. It's probably
saying is photos equal sticky reviews.
Yeah, and I'm going to illustrate exactly how this works. I asked a client of ours to go back to a review that he had left us 2 years ago and simply add a photo to it. What ended up happening blew my mind. His review that was 2 years old moved to the top, but completely changed the order of all the other reviews that showed up as well. So we had a 1-star review that was being highlighted at the top. The 1-star review that was previously at the top of our listing got moved down, so it wasn't even in the top 10 that were listed.
So I'm curious how you guys
But no, did I miss the how portion?
Maybe.
No, it was asked. She was basically the purpose was to remove a negative review, right? Or kind of not necessarily remove, but move it out of the site.
Bring it down.
Yeah. So the way to do that was
push it down with newer reviews.
No, with an older review and updating an older review by adding a photo, enhancing, and she was able to move that down.
Because Colin originally said too about indexing reviews, where sometimes someone leaves a review and it doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Then that's also something that can be useful because that's kind of an extra user engagement signal that will actually say, hey, this is a legit review. This is a real photo. I have seen things like that. And we tell clients all the time, like, have your customers take photos of the plumber that's working on your faucet, and and write a review about how he's doing and put a little photo in there. By just adding those additional user engagement signals or user generated content, especially with photos, is very important.
I thought this tip is actually really brilliant. And so here's this massive problem. You've got a Google business profile and Google will highlight 3 reviews on that profile. And so sometimes you get the worst, nastiest review highlighted on your profile and it sits there for years. It just sits there. As soon as someone Googles your brand, you got this really negative statement on there. And so what this tip is, I don't believe they said this at the beginning, but we know that a review that has a photo on it tends to sit at the top of the Google review panel, like under the most relevant. The photos are really significant to that. And so how do you balloons?
What's that?
I don't know why I got balloons, but yeah, I guess.
Happy birthday.
Wait, where'd that come from?
How do you get that -1 to go away? And I believe the strategy here was like you take some of your past reviewers that have left you a good review and you ask them to add photos. And I believe that this is case study. They did that. That moved that review to the very top with the photo, which then actually knocks out that -1. And it's the only strategy I've ever heard of dealing with that problem. So this tip is actually really phenomenal. And so it's worth noting that that's how you could solve that problem.
Thank you for more detailed explaining that. A similar situation happens over on Yelp. Here's a little gold nugget for folks. A lot of times people would leave real Yelp reviews, but they don't stick.
Yep.
What you do is leave your 4-star or 5-star, come back to it, add a photo or change the rating, then it's more likely to stick.
That's a really cool tip. I've never heard that.
So is it the existing user of leaving the review and then going back and adding the photo, or what if I have a new reviewer leave a photo?
I think it's more about the trust of that older,
of the existing one.
Yeah. Because that is one thing that we talk about. Google loves history, right? They love something that's sitting out there that's static, and then when it goes back and then it's updated, there's a little monkey wrench in that algorithm that triggers, hey, this is hot and new, let's put it out there.
Yep.
Got it. What are any other ways that, Darren, that you kind of like address negative reviews?
Well, responding obviously really well to them. Oftentimes a negative review can make the business look really good. And so a negative review does tend to get lots of visibility because people go to the profiles, they want to read the negative reviews. And so the way that you respond to it, if you respond really well and you make yourself look good, it's a great opportunity to be like, that guy was clearly a little crazy and said some like stupid ass stuff, but you've responded so respectfully that it actually, a negative review can be a positive. And you can also, if it's a negative review where they had a legitimate complaint and then you do address it, you can often turn a negative review into a positive by really, like, you get on the phone, you talk about, we want to make this right, we want to make it better. And then sometimes the way that you handle a negative experience and you really step up, you can turn that 1-star into a 5-star, and then you've actually made a brand advocate for life.
There you go.
And of course, it's the visuals, the hundreds of people looking at the negative, and what they want is, how did you as a business owner respond? Did you respond in kind? Did you, were you talking like you're talking to Judge Judy? Not getting emotional, not saying my husband would never do that and you're a jerk, and right, like no. Stick to the facts, right? And be willing to offer them either a discount or a follow-up to make it right, because that's really what these complaints are. You just want to make things right.
There we go. All right, let's get on to our live case study. Let me go ahead and share a screen right here. So we didn't do anything last week, but 2 weeks ago, we did a driving directions. We actually, Jordan and I actually went in and actually drove around this place. So what happened was, for paintless dent removal, it pretty much stayed the same. Nothing really happened. Right? It didn't really do anything. But what's interesting was that paintless dent repair saw an extreme push when we did those driving directions.
So what happened last week, though? I'm just curious, because we did that test last week.
It was 2 weeks ago when we drove around.
It was 2 weeks ago? I was thinking it was last week.
Yeah. So I'm comparing 2 weeks ago to today, and hey, that's all we did. So we basically just did so far. We done citations. We did we did the services. We did a one review, and
Questions and answers.
question and answers, and then that's it so far. And we're just ranking like
We
pretty low.
we also added your in H2. We changed like
Joyce
one
kept-
title,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. We added an H2 to the website for that. So now we're doing just one tactic a week. Any suggestions, Darren, on something that we can do to help us try to improve what we have already?
I just want to understand what I'm seeing here on the screen. So basically, between June 11th and June 25th, the only activity that happened in that period was some people got in their cars, requested driving directions, and then drove to the business.
Yeah, that's all.
How
we
many
did.
people?
That's just me and Jordan.
Just 2 people.
Four users.
Oh yeah, we had four. We had four different phones. More. Different phones.
Oh,
Yeah, per
cheating sons of bitches! I'm telling you.
Dre almost lost one of his users.
Yeah, I'm skeptical that
What?
that is what made the difference between chart 1 and chart 2, just the driving directions, because you also mentioned all the other things that you had been doing, and sometimes it takes time for that stuff to roll in. And so
It's true.
when you are doing lots of things, within a relatively short window, it's hard to pin the ranking gains on one thing or the other. So I don't know. I personally have always wanted to test driving directions, and my theory or my strategy was I was going to use TaskRabbit. So I was going to hire people, TaskRabbit, to go and deliver something to the business. And I would do it like 100 times. You'd have to spend some money, but I would do it like 100 times. And I would do it on a business that actually had no other things going on. They're not getting reviews. Their website's not being updated. You got to try and control the variable. And so that was my idea. I love driving directions. I believe it. Holly Stark has proven it. I really believe that Google definitely looks at this as a signal.
So one thing to add to it was more of a controlled test in the sense that we wanted to, because where it was showing in some of the greens is kind of in the lower left hand side. Up in the upper right hand side was more yellow. So we concentrated on Dre was doing driving directions more from the north, and I was doing it from like the northeast. So it's a little bit more control. We wanted to see if we could kind of just have a more controlled area of where the driving directions were actually coming from. Rather than, because a lot of times people would do this like, I'm going to send 100 driving direction signals and they're all fucking coming from the same place, right? All coming in from the north. So we wanted to have it a little bit more control where we could say, hey, we're not getting as good ranking on this side. Can we control it in this section here and then have it come in this section? And we actually saw a pattern of that when Jay actually did it the first time. He was driving in from San Francisco to this particular area, and you could actually see the trail.
So I'm curious because this is where I came from north right here, so it kind of got a little bit better. And you came from Bay Point here, and it put that up right there. But so
the other comment I have is that if this runs daily, sometimes you'll see massive fluctuation on a day-to-day basis, right? So you go June 24th, June 23rd, you may not see it. Then you go back to June 26th, and it's different, right? And so the results are a little bit like, that could just be natural fluctuations sometimes. And so I want to see it not just 2 days. I want to see did that ranking change on June 25th stick for like at least another week or two.
Okay, so let's say if 2 days after. So we did it on when did we do it? It was on the.
It was like last Monday, dude.
Yeah,
like
last
we met last Monday.
My screen.
Let me look.
Can you see my screen here? Or is it gone?
You get those real driving. You get real users, right?
Yeah, we met last Monday.
You get them to actively do something.
That was the 16th.
Right?
16th.
You should see some positive movement.
On the 16th. This what it was on the 16th.
I would think so.
And a lot of times too, when you do stuff like this, it's usually a temporary traffic signal. So you will see fluctuations where things start to drop off. So like if you're not, like Darren said, if you're not continuously doing this, if we did this every day from the same area, that would probably be green. Or at least a little bit better.
So 16, we did it on the 16th. It looks like I was comparing back to the last time we actually did anything, because last time we scanned it was the 11th.
do like the 10th or 11th, and then compare it to like the to like the 19th is when the last show would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been
nothing.
solid for a little while there. And
Yeah.
I guess it's the before and after. Wait,
But I think-
why does that say June 11th? I thought it would originally said June 11th, and the grid did not look as good as that. Now it's changed.
June 11. Oh, this is painting that. Wait, painting this. Oh yeah. What the hell?
What's up with this search atlas?
What's up with that? What's up with that?
Wait, hold on. That's right, right? It looks like it's the same.
I feel like it's broken. I think you found a bug. In search
No,
atlas.
man. All right.
It's a little different.
Wow.
You guys got to use the White Spark local ranking grid. I've just been down.
Yeah,
done?
come
Is it
on.
done?
Hello.
It's so good. I can't even believe how good it is. I cannot wait to show you. It is very close to launching. I was demoing it with the team yesterday.
Oh, nice.
We're putting the final touches on it, but I'm telling you, that search atlas looks like a pile of trash compared to what we're about to launch. Well, I can't
There you
wait. Can't wait.
That's exciting. We look forward to
Well,
it. for sure.
anything's better than Bright Locals. So
Well, it's coming. Can't wait to show you.
All right. So let's get into our next segment we have here. We have GPs.
Yeah, we're going to verify some GMBs right now. How we doing?
all right. Today we are going to be talking about website tech. And can you guys all see my screen?
Yeah.
Ooh, website performance by tech.
So this gets asked all the time in every major fucking Facebook group. I have Wix, I have Squarespace. Can I rank? Can I do this? Can I do that? We're just going to go through some of the comparisons and just kind of let you more know on a technical level of how some of these different platforms compare. Squarespace, Wix, probably two of the most popular website builders out there. You'll see them heavy, especially in some like hair salons, that type of industry. One thing that I've noticed that's really interesting about Squarespace and Wix is they are extremely client side rendered heavy, which means they run a lot of front side JavaScript, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but keep in mind, I'm going to show you guys a couple of examples of what that would look like. It's important to know these things because of when you want Google to actually read your content, they stay on your website for an average of about 5 to 6 seconds. And then they basically quit reading and quit rendering and then basically leave the page. So it's super important that you make sure that your sites are performing well and they kind of stay under that 4 to 5 second range to make sure you get the most benefit for the bots. GoDaddy, I haven't used them in a long time, but it's another pretty popular platform. They have an AI builder now. What's the name of it, Keith? I think it's called Avio or AO. I don't know if you remember what it was called.
AIRO, maybe? Sorry.
Yeah, something like that. But
it's the creepy little ads with the little wind guy.
Yeah.
Oh yes, coming. That.
Webflow is another pretty popular one too. It's a JavaScript-based site. Most of it is more not necessarily client side, but there are quite a few plugins that you can put into it. It's pretty decent platform. I mean, I've used it for a couple of projects. It can be a little bit difficult at times if you're not very tech savvy to use Webflow, but I know quite a few big companies that use it. WordPress, obviously, probably one of the most popular platforms out there. You're going to use different builders within it, like Elementor, Astra, Bricks, Divi, WordPress Bakery. But a lot of the builders, with the exception of probably Bricks, are very client-side rendered heavy, which means they're using a lot of kind of front-end JavaScript, which can really slow down and bog down your site. And then there are, JavaScript frameworks, things like React, Vue, Angular, and Svelte. Moving on. So static HTML, it's basically if you just see a normal site that doesn't use any type of CMS, it's not running off of PHP, it's mainly running off of CSS and straight HTML code. Typically, they're going to be faster than a lot of website platforms. Again, it's going to depend on a lot of your hosting in general. Some of the reasons why you're not having to rely on any type of database, like WordPress is going to be using PHP database base. Typically, they're usually smaller in size as far as the files go. With the use of different platforms, I've shown you guys a platform called Flowbyte. They use basically kind of a rendered CSS, so you don't even need to host any of your CSS files directly on your hosting. It actually pulls all that in remotely, so you can run a very, very light HTML site pretty easily. And then you get into things like JavaScript based, like React and Vue. There's the main differences between these, though, is that a lot of JavaScript sites is going to depend on two major things, whether it's server-side rendering or client-side rendering. Basically, what that means is server-side, the browser loads from the server and then serves it to you, whereas in client-side, it loads it to the browser, and then you have to wait on your end for the pages to load. WordPress usually slowest by default. Again, it's going to be depending on, you can definitely build an extremely fast WordPress site, but it's going to have things that include, fast caching. So you're going to have a pretty decent sized server. You can also use things that are headless. That makes things a little bit easier to render as well. There's just a little table so you can take a look at kind of the differences between the different platforms, but I want to show you exactly what this would look like in the wild. So give me one moment. So this is going to be a WordPress site. This is a cleaning company out of San Diego. So this whole website's based in WordPress. So as you can see, it's pretty decent. Definitely probably some CRO things that they can work on. But one thing that's important too is that you're going to notice the rendering side of this. So you're going to see that this little chart, as I scroll down, you see this little red. That means that there's a lot of JavaScript that's loading on the page.
Yeah.
Okay. If we get into something like Walmart, you're going to notice a lot of e-commerce stores are typically going to be CSR type of JavaScript sites because they have a lot of elements that they need to pull in, shopping carts and things like that. So Walmart's one of those big giant elephants in the room. They probably have a little bit more leeway since they're a pretty recognized brand with Google. So the rendering and the JavaScript that's on the front end is going to be a little bit more leeway. So this is actually loads pretty slow in comparison. And this page in particular has like a 16-second load time.
Wow.
So keep that in mind when you're looking at building your sites. You don't want to have a lot of client-side rendering. You want to have a lot of, if you're using JavaScript, have it be more on the server side. And then this is going to be a static HTML. This is actually one that Keith built.
Ooh, look how pretty it is.
So, and the rendering on this one is going to be extremely minimal. Hardly runs any JavaScript at all.
So I'm curious, like, so what are your CMS of choice? So Keith, you pretty much do HTML sites, pretty much.
Yeah.
No WordPress, nothing.
You don't really necessarily need to. I mean, I was raised on it, even though I do quite a bit of writing, you think, but WordPress is just so clunky and so many security issues that basic small business websites can just be really simple, right? They don't need a lot of dynamic changes, and they don't spend tons of time on a site, right? They come, they get what they want, they get the phone number, they get the click, they get the basic info, and they're gone. And our whole world is heavily focused on the phone, right? So they have to be super fast.
Yep.
Darren, do you use any special CMS? Are you using HTML, JavaScript, WordPress?
So we don't build sites for our clients. They usually come to us with a site, and we try our best to help them. But yeah, some of them are garbage Divi sites built 15 years ago. Some of them, it's just like, so we deal with whatever we get. It's lots of custom weird sites. I'm interested in this static site, what do you do when the client wants to update the content or update the page? Because you're out doing website and SEO, you're doing that for them anyway, so it doesn't matter, you just update it yourself in HTML?
So, I mean, I do have a solution, and part of the Trident product as well, people can log in and they can just type over the text that's already there. So there is a type of CMS, but it doesn't give you like the full word.
But then it re-renders the whole page and makes a new HTML, and it just updates the page. And now
no, it just updates the page.
I like this a lot. I think that especially for a small business site, it makes a lot of sense. I remember I got my start in the late 90s using Dreamweaver, Adobe Dreamweaver.
Oh yeah, Dreamweaver graduate.
I was using
Oh yeah, I
Pageable.
get the concept. I just need a place to be able to easily edit the pages and mess around with layout and stuff without actually having to do it in Notepad++ with the text editor. Right? I just want to be able to have some visual interface of laying on my page and dragging things around. And so what do you do for that when you're making these static pages?
Yeah, that's where it's, it really becomes down a development role. My small business owner, they just I just want to take care of the calls and do the jobs. They don't want to build it and design it. They're not designed for, they're not the traditional web builders. They're not designed
and also
for developers.
too is how what type of edits do you really need to make it? Like if you have control, like what are you really wanting to change at the end of the day?
As a small business owner, what do you really want to change, right?
And as an SEO agency managing this for your clients, they don't want to do it. They want you to do it. So it is an interesting approach, and I think it's pretty solid. I like it. And I think it would be, if we started offering websites for clients, I would probably take this approach where we generate a static site for them. I like it.
There you go. All right. And we have a special, party boat?
Oh yeah. Let's take a look here. Some of you guys, I teased you on Monday about the party boat, and I even tagged Darren. I'm like, I don't know. Does Darren know what's going on? Are we going to figure this out? So I had pulled up Austin Party Boat Rentals. You guys see my screen here?
Yeah.
In the Trident ranking group, my screen's all rendered. We're good, right?
Yep.
Sorry. In the Trident ranking club, one of our members asked, what do you do when Google's not really playing funsies, right? So let me just grab my hand. Lambo loves his little marker. So Google is getting smart enough to know that this is where most of the businesses are, like 75%. However, this was really interesting. This guy, even though he's focusing on Lake Austin, he is doing very well with being much closer to the centroid of the city. So clearly, keyword in your business is going to win, right? And people searching, let's jump over to, this is a mobile version. So Google says, hey, Kay, you're a phone. I drop you into Austin. You're looking for party boat rentals. It's shooting up into the top of, what is that? Lake, I was going to call it Lake Charles. That's not it. I'm sorry. I'm not being an Austinite. It's centering up here. So it's unique that in the top 5, we were seeing Lake Austin bounce back and forth. And I'm like, gosh, what else are they doing, right? One of the key things is, this is where the people are at, right? They're down here.
Yeah.
And if you do a near me search, because of the distance, Google's definitely going to show the guys who are closer to you. But there's something else that Lake Austin is doing. They're actually doing classic marketing. They have built some brochures, a brochure with a guy, some guy, he's like this, and he's standing here and he's got coconut bra on, right? From my deal.
Well, that sounds like your marketing.
Yeah, exactly. You take a little trifold brochure and you've seen it in restaurants and hotels, and that is a big part of what they're doing. And he's like, we only see our competition 2 or 3 times. So people are searching this specific brand name. I think that has a lot to do with it. I don't know, Darren, you didn't necessarily need to take a look at this. I didn't know if you had any other, because I called you out in public.
Okay,
If
so
you
I
had
remember
any
this
thoughts on
this
this
post.
one
I remember the
specifically?
call out. I took a look at it, and I basically came to the same conclusion that everybody in the comment seemed to come in, which is it's a direct match. Austin Party About Rentals is in the damn name, and so Google does that, and I think they do it because they're like, well, you might be looking for that specific brand, so I have to return it. And I think that's why keywords in the name are so strong. It is very possible that they're getting additional benefit from the strategy you talked about. And I'm like, okay, so we're talking about a brochure that goes out, and does it have a QR code on it? Because there's a strategy that I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
You
No,
send this out with the
and
QR
he said
code.
that they didn't, you know, and I didn't even allude to. I just was
Yeah.
like curious, right? Of like what is these outside factors, right? Because people could do digital CTR bots, and what's really kind of happening here, helping with the influence, is you have actual humans searching and clicking.
Yep. It is noteworthy that ATX Party Boats has almost 3,000 reviews, and Keep Austin Wet has 3,000, and they only have 114 Lake Austin Party Boats. I do think 100% the name is driving this more than anything else. But if they're doing some smart, direct mail type distribution with QR codes, and the QR codes go to a branded search, God, I love that. And so it's a really interesting, smart strategy. I don't think anyone's doing it. I probably shouldn't tell everybody this cool tip.
Hey, stop it.
Yeah, but I think it's really interesting thing that's going on. And now you were also talking about proximity. So proximity to the centroid. They're closer to the centroid than the other ranking businesses. And that may be playing a role specifically because the word Austin is in the search query, right? So now you're kind of anchoring your search query to the city, whereas the other ones are a little bit outside of Austin. And in fact, you could go into a new tab and just search for Austin, and you could see the actual red outline boundary, and those other ones might be outside of it. So that would play a role as well.
And that's true. And that's why, I mean, I did a variety of tests, and Lake Austin wasn't always in the top 3. It bounces around, right? But it was interesting to see that just dropping a map in here, not saying the word Austin, these 3 guys showed up, and lo and behold, look who has the #1 website, and look who's #2. So very interesting as well that the powerful site can still connect in with ranking factors.
Why are you using the Google Ads thing? Is that just to geolocate?
Well, it's sort of what I feel is a neutral way of a live search, and it's not bullshit as such. It's, I'm in here. This is actually the Austin. I can even type in
There's no user history behind it too.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's super accurate, but it's obviously it's non-personalized, right? It's basically showing me who they think, right? So hey, look, there's Lake Austin showing up when I centroid the search. It's not perfect, and we all know that with mobile phones, and Jordan has extensive an opinion on it, but these green goblin map stuff can be really not trustworthy. So I'd rather just go straight to the horse's mouth and say, well, let's see what the ad preview looks like.
Cool. I like it.
I don't know. I am.
All right. Let's get into our roast of
what the hell is this? Jordan sent this to me. What the hell are you doing?
Hey, I'm just giving you a good, strong JavaScript site for your new brand.
Wow, this is the whole website.
Gosh.
You're going to be so rich.
No coconuts were harmed in the making of this website. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I'm going to go leave you a good review because maps.
You guys have a lot of time on your hands. This is impressive.
Too much time.
All right, so let's.
Let me. I got to get off the screen here because I'm scared.
All right, we have what is it? Ink? Some ink business that we're looking at.
Permanent makeup.
Yeah, let's take a look at the
tattoo
here.
You have a cosmetic ink.
This is whoops, that is the wrong. That's a little cheat sheet. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Your notes.
Party boat rentals. I answered part of the query in go to the window, press on the right button. We don't want the coconut. Here we go. Yeah, this is permanent makeup, permanent ink. Or 208 Cosmetic Ink is what they do. You can definitely tell that it's sort of a self-made website. You know, it's lots of information, really not focused on the services. I love that they won these awards. You know, just quickly looking at headers, there's no H1 to be found anywhere. The title is just their brand. So they're not really targeting the specific city, which, you know, that's something that I love to do. And as you note too, that they've just gone crazy on headers. So nearly every piece of text we see on the screen is a header. One thing that I would think, and we kind of see this in the cosmetic dentistry in the dental world, if you're going to show me photos, typically you're going to want to see like the end result,
Before
right?
and after.
Yeah. And I actually, Danielle is the name. She was very kind, and I spoke with her just to kind of learn more, and I gave her some tidbits. But yes, I think people do maybe want to jump into a gallery and see more. But man, it's so hard to get good photos after a needle has been, you know, inflamed the skin. So I think that for most clients that you want to really have the after photo of you're at the reunion, you're at the wedding, you're at the special event, you know that, you know, this is definitely something that is focused for the females and designed for Instagram. So if you have a business like this, try to work with your clients and follow up with them weeks later with that awesome photo, because that would be a primary reason why you would want permanent makeup, right? But that's another sad thing. Permanent makeup is a primary keyword for what they do. And I don't think it's listed. It's not anywhere on a heading, right? You're like, no.
How are they doing with for a local search for, this is if you search what?
I mean, even on
For
maps,
like permanent makeup.
They're competing pretty tough ones on maps, because there's a brand called Permanent Makeup Boise.
Yeah, they obviously dominate and they got it covered, right? So let's just go check permanent makeup. Let's just
Most
go
of them
like
have cosmetic, permanent, or Boise in the name too, which unfortunately.
microblading. That's another version.
Yep.
So there she is, 208 Cosmetic Ink as a live result right now. But you're like, we were going to demo this 2 weeks ago, but vacations and, you know, everything else got in the way. Lo and behold, kids, if you go take a look at this, because, you know, we love looking at reviews, we love looking at activity, and Darren, you're going to be intrigued with this. Look at the most recent reviews, like a week ago, 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 a week ago. Yeah, Mr. Lambo, when I talked with Danielle, I says, Danielle, I think at that time she had 37 reviews.
Yep.
I said, you've been established for 3 years, and how many clients are you seeing? We just did a bit of math. She was only getting about 10 to 15% of clients leaving reviews. So she aggressively went after the reviews, and boom, look at that, kicking the booty. She's number 2.
Yep.
Darren, if you want, you can guide me, or if you want to run the screen, or if someone just, you know, wants to tell me to
is it
shut
my
up.
turn? Am I ready to roast?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Let's Let's see. I put this. in the
Coconut.
phone.
Hey, what's the slogan? We need a song for the coconut bras. Maybe what?
You
Keith.
put the lime in the coconut.
Put the lime in the
That's definitely the
coconut.
song.
Leave
All
your
right.
bra on.
I'm
You
gonna
want to
roast
leave
it.
your bra on.
Shh.
Am I ready to
Yeah.
roast it?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So I noticed a few things about this Google Business Profile. I actually thought it was just Google Business Profile, but I did look at the website and other areas as well. So the first thing that stands out to me are these photos. They're not good. So I kind of like this one. I'm glad that there's like a sales pitch right in the photo. This one, no. This one, not compelling. This one, sorry, lady, not compelling. So this one's actually a video. And I watched this video and I was like, what the heck? So she's making a video and she's talking about tattoo removal. And
Okay.
it's kind of gross and I'm a little freaked out. And I'm like, I don't want to watch this. So my advice is to be like, yeah, make a video about tattoo removal, but business owner, just talk about it to the screen with your own face. Don't be showing this. So, and I also get this vibe across all the photos. You mentioned this already about how it would be better to get these photos a week out from the treatment or whatever, if you could.
The final
Let their
Instagram
face-
photo. Yeah.
Yeah, and so these are not great photos. There's a lot of like, I don't know. They're doing the before and afters. That's good, right? I did think this one might be good here. Keith, you might want to check out this service.
Yep. Oh, sure.
New strand looks pretty good. So, but okay, so the photos stand out as not the nicest photos. I would delete a lot of those photos and replace them with new photos. I do think photos are a factor. The reviews, great. She's doing a great job with reviews, and she's also doing a great job of replying to reviews. So I'm very pleased to see that. Was replying to reviews, so it needs to catch up. A lot has not done.
They're just brand new. Okay, be nice.
That's pretty good. Doing a good job on the reviews. No Q&A on the profile. I always recommend that you add Google Q&A to the profile, and you
and with that, Darren,
what
would be the quick process? Like you the owner can just ask some questions and answer them, or how would you suggest? Yeah.
In fact, if you open up what's called the NMX, a new merchant experience, you just go to edit your Google business profile in Google. There's a button right there that says Q&A, and you can even ask and answer your own questions right in that thing. They now made it.
Do it.
So yeah, see your Q&A. But now let's talk about the Google posts, because I knew this was coming. But the Google posts here, so I've got feedback. So first of all, on Google Maps, it's worthwhile noting that on Maps, Google posts get pretty decent prominence. They're right there under the main information from the owner. So you will notice that her last post was on March 15th. Now, I will tell you that if I was advising on the kind of post to create, this is actually really good. I love it. Your specials, your promos. The thing you have to think about with Google Posts is that they're not for your existing customers. Like, hey, Sally, it's Sally's birthday. Like, nobody cares. These are prospects.
What's new? You want what's new? What's exciting?
You want sales, you want promos, you want compelling. Every Google post you either be selling directly like this is, it's a special deal going on, or it should be convincing. It's like a conversion thing, like read our testimonials. This is why we won these awards. Like those awards should all be Google posts. This is a really great place for you to put additional info on your Google business profile. And watch this. Look at this. It was like 4 minutes ago she did this. Dude, make that a Google post. It's perfect. That is
Let's go, Danielle. Come on. Permanent makeup for the win.
A lovely, fantastic Google post. Look at that. Imagine if that was right here. Hello. This is this is free advertising space on Google. And okay, we're not talking about rankings here. Agreed, Jordan. This does not impact your rankings. It does impact your conversion. This is a beautiful possible post. Someone goes to your profile. They're looking at permanent makeup. They see that. They're like, okay, look at that. They got a $100 lash line enhancement special.
I want it.
Go through, contact the business. And look at this. So active 22 hours ago. Look at this. Look at this. It's like so many opportunities. So they're wasting it. You know how many people are following them? I don't know. It probably says it somewhere, like 70. Oh, 679 likes.
679.
1,000
1,000
followers.
followers.
Do you know how
1,000
many people
followers.
saw this? 2. It was Danielle's mom and it was Danielle's husband.
And
They are
Keith.
the only people who saw this Facebook post. But you know who sees this? If you put it right here, hundreds of people per month will see it and they will potentially be compelled to contact your business. This is why I love Google Posts. It's not a ranking thing. It is a great opportunity though. And then I would say you want to duplicate a similar kind of strategy with your photos because people will go through your photos and you should be doing videos. This looks like a video from the business owner.
No.
Oh, what is this? Just showing off some lips.
I don't know.
Okay, I
that's
need some- I
sexy
need some
Instagram.
narration.
You better.
I need you to
Would you
explain
send me
what I'm
that
looking
link,
at here.
please? I see that I sent you a message. Would you send me the personal DM of that? Thanks. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So, okay, Google Business Profile. Otherwise, it's pretty good. I didn't look at the categories. I would turn on GMB everywhere, and I would want to add additional categories. And then I also want to look at the services. I'm going to show you a trick right now. How do you see the services for a business? And so she's in Boise. I would go criminal lawyers, Boise ID. And the reason I did lawyers is because this typically triggers what I call, didn't do it this time. It's like the local services pack. So let's go lawyers. Dang it. I want it. I want this it's called like the pro list. You probably have seen it before.
Hey, I need you to click on one of those and leave me a review for me, please, for a couple clients.
Do locksmith. You'll see
Will I
it.
get the pro services? Oh yeah.
Hey, you stay out of my market, you son of a bitch.
Do locksmith. You'll see
You
it.
work on locksmiths? God, we reject all those.
Hell no, I don't work with them, but I just know that they pull up.
Yeah.
We know how it
I
works.
can't get the pro list, but if you get the pro list, then when you click on one of these, you will get their services, and then you can actually look at the services.
Yeah.
If I knew the URL off the top of my head, I would just paste it in there. But yeah, basically the pro list will show you their services. Otherwise, you can look it up on your mobile device. So I would look at their services and I would optimize their services, but I would also highlight a lot of the things you mentioned on the website. Title tags, hello, no title tags, and they made the golden mistake, which is one page for all their services. Every one of these services needs its own page where you're going to really build it out and talk about it, and then you're going to link that back. In fact, this kind of goes back to that video that we watched at the beginning where the guy saying you want to basically mirror your Google Business Profile with your website. And I would do the same thing here. Every one that you've mentioned as a category should have a page, and then services, all of those should have pages on your website. So those are my thoughts, my suggestions for improvement. Your business name is not awesome. I would potentially consider a rebrand.
Right. I know. And that's it. It's like, it is what it is, or you suggest making a change, right? What do you do?
Well, the way we do this with our clients actually is we just work with them on a rebrand, and we tell them, here's what you got to do. Step 1, you're going to register the DBA. Step 2, we're going to update your logo on your website. So let's see this here. And the cool thing you can actually do is you can still keep your brand awake. Like, let's say this brand's been around for 10 years. They're like, well, we are 208 Cosmetic Inc. Everyone knows that. It's on our signage. It's everywhere. So then what you would change your name to is 208 Cosmetic Inc. Boise Permanent Makeup. And so then you get Boise Permanent Makeup right here at the end of it, right? And then you change your logo to 208 Cosmetic Inc. and see where it says serving the Treasure Valley. Get rid of that and just replace it with Boise Permanent Makeup.
Boise Permanent Makeup.
Yeah, everywhere on the page that you mentioned, 208 Cosmetic Inc., that's where you're going to update this to Boise Permanent Makeup. And then you update your citations, especially big ones like your Facebook, your Instagram, everywhere you mention, your LinkedIn, your Better Business Bureau, do the data aggregators, update other citations, and then you change Google. Once all the information on the internet is already saying that this is your name, then you can update Google and it'll likely stick. But you will then maybe have competitors suggesting edits and removing it. And then you might want a system to reject that. Like we have one at Whitespark.
Yes.
There you go.
Anyways, those
And
are
you
my
can get
thoughts.
citations at Whitespark too, right? You have citations. You have citation
And
services.
of course, you can definitely use our Whitespark citation service as well.
Love it, love it. So guys, we are at time. Darren, anything else that you would love to, like, you have anything special going on, any projects that you want to share with everyone?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think I already mentioned it. I can't wait for it to launch our local ranking grid software. That is in active production. Coming soon. They were telling me end of this month, but I'm able to play with it so far, but we're still putting the final touches on it. It should be launching mid-July.
Well, if you need some testers, let me know. I can break shit.
Yeah, I would love for you to
There
test
you
it.
go.
Thank you. I will let you know, and I'm going to get some.
Gonna break it.
As well. Yeah.
And that's
So
at
that's the biggest one that's coming.
whitespark.ca, right? Whitespark.ca.
Yeah, whitespark.ca. That's where you can find
All
us
right.
and all of our software
And-
and my educational materials, and check me out on YouTube and LinkedIn and places. I'm around. I'm on
There you
Facebook
go.
too. Yeah.
All right, JP, schemasucks.net, your new project. Lambo, what do you got going on?
Trident Ranking Club, we are closing the doors July 1st. You can still get in for $199. That's a monthly investment for the rest of the summer. But we just
We're getting busy.
We're running out of time. So
All right, guys. And if you guys didn't see on LinkedIn, I launched a new project, AEO.so, AEO.so. If you want to learn more about answer engine optimization, check it out. It's a huge knowledge base of everyone's tactics sourced back to the actual tactic provider. So you can see who's the experts in the field, and you can see the actual paper, case studies, or any tests that they have done. So check that out, AEO.so.
man, that was just a jam-packed thing. Who cares about the time? We don't care if we went over time. We could do this for 30 more minutes.
All right, guys. So that's it. We'll see you guys next week. That was the and we'll thank you, Darren, for coming by.
Hey, GBP roast, GBP roast. Sorry, you in danger. Right now, I gotta flame you. This is GBP roast, GBP roast. On your Google business profile, it's about to go down. We roasting and reacting. We ain't come to play. 20 years in SEO. JP, Lambo, and Dre, bringing facts and guests. Oh yeah, we bring the dopeness. Welcome to the show. Hope your profile don't get roasted.
All right.